To start off this episode, it's official. It turns out Atari did bury much of its failed software and various bric-a-brac from the early 80s in a New Mexico landfill. E.T. the Extraterrestrial for the Atari 2600, considered by many the worst game of all time, was amongst the software involved. The dig which uncovered the buried treasure was made a public event and filmed for an upcoming documentary. The moral of the story? You can't bury your past. Unless you're Gina Davis in The Long Kiss Goodnight, of course. And even then, it's difficult. The next story is that a host of arcade cabinets and boards, as well as over 10,000 games, are in need of a new home. Part of the Games Museum in Denmark, the collector responsible has failed to receive government support to help provide a home for his vast collection. Apparently there are parties in Sweden, France and the US interested in helping out though, and I may well give updates on this story in the coming months. Third, a Kickstarter for a book showcasing the visuals, loading screens, maps and cover art of the Commodore 64 was successfully funded in April. Titled the Commodore 64, a visual compendium, the volume is due out in September. Another crowdfunding project was also made available to pre-order last month, and is a DVD titled The Untold History of Japanese Game Developers. Copies cost £40 each. The strangest news this month by far, however, has to go to the discovery of artist Andy Warhol's attempt to use the Commodore Amiga as a drawing tool. And you can see his doodlings using the system by visiting the link in this video's description. To start, the first batch of Game Boy Advance titles was released onto the Wii U's eShop, as I mentioned in last month's episode. The titles include Metroid Fusion, Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga, Advance Wars, WarioWare Inc. Mega Micro Games, Kirby and the Amazing Mirror, Golden Sun, F-Zero Maximum Velocity and Super Mario Advance 3 Yoshi's Island. They're all pretty much top drawer. A sequel to the 8-bit love-in that was NES Remakes was also made available on Nintendo's home console in the form of NES Remix 2. Some of the games involved in its wacky reimagining ways include Dr. Mario, Metroid and Punch-Out! Meanwhile, the 3DS's eShop received a solitary NES title in April, but at least it's a good one in the form of Castlevania 3 Dracula's Curse. As for Sony fans, the Sly trilogy for PS Vita was released, which contains PS2 stealth platformers Sly Cooper and the Thieves Raccoonus, Sly 2 Band of Thieves, and Sly 3 Honor Among Thieves. You can also buy the games separately if you so wish. PSN got Disney PlayStation 2 games Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End and Stitch Experiment 626 as well. These cost £7.99 each, by the way. Don't all rush to buy them at once. The American PSN also got Hyper Crazy Climber, which was originally a Japanese exclusive title for the PlayStation when it was released in 1996. Next, an array of Humongous Entertainment's children-friendly PC adventures was put onto Steam in April, and include Freddy Fish and Luther's Maze Madness, Putt Putt and Pep's Balloon-O-Rama, and Pajama Sam No Need to Hide When It's Dark Outside. You have no idea how many attempts it took me to get through that list. As for mobile games, there was medieval Amiga strategy game Defender of the Crown for Android, hyperactive shoot-'em-up Gunbird 2 for Android and iOS, and finally a reboot of NES sports title RBI Baseball, retitled RBI Baseball 14 for iOS. Just two pieces of news for this section, but one of them is that Crix finally released a flash cartridge for the Game Boy. Titled the EverDrive GB, these will set you back $78 each. Second is that pre-orders are now being taken for the GD Emu, an SD card loading add-on device for the Sega Dreamcast. The price? €100. To start this section, the developer of the unreleased Master System and Game Gear ports of Lemmings 2, The Tribes, has made them available to download now online. What a nice chap. The games were finished but unreleased due to the high production costs and the dwindling popularity of both systems. Talking of developers' generosity, Interceptor Entertainment, the company who brought 3D Realms in March, are also worthy of praise. It uncovered early builds of Duke Nukem 3D amongst other 3D Realms titles, and will be hoping to release as much as it can to the public in the coming months. This video of an early prototype of Duke Nukem 3D was released in April, for example. Actual full homebrew releases this month include an unofficial port of Philips Video Pack Munchkin for the Atari 2600, 2D platformer El Stompo for the ZX Spectrum, and an unofficial and somewhat dodgily designed Korean Robocop title for the Master System. To round off this section, short tech demos of how Day of the Tentacle and Fuzzy's miniature world of Space Golf would look on the Mega Drive were also released online in April. Whether this means full ports will be attempted in the future, who knows. A largely adventure or RPG based selection of translations for you this month, including the Game Boy's Magic Knight Rayearth II, The Missing Colours, SNES titles Chaos Seed and Kusu Kagaku Sekai Gulliver Boy, and Mega Man Battle Network 6, Psybeast Falzar for the Game Boy Advance. The one title to break up this genre monopoly, you ask? Action title Yukai Club for the NES. That's all for this month's episode then, but please do let me know if I've missed anything in the comments section below. I'd also like to add that I've now been doing this show for 2 years, so my sincere thanks for anyone that's watched, commented or liked any of these episodes. It means a great deal to me. Until next time, thanks for watching.
This is the final battle!